Dana, could you share a little bit of your story in terms of, I know there's been some big things that have happened in your life and it hasn't even, not even that long ago, with burnout.
The sandcastles that we build, we want abundance, we do the mantras, we do the work, but we haven't healed the lack and scarcity in our life. I always say there's a high low. We're never going to rise above what we think we're worthy of. And I do believe we will attract and we will stay there and we will negotiate. And it depends on that core wound and our core fear. Our core wound will dictate our whole life, and that will be our core fear. So mine was safety. And so I negotiated and I worked with a psychotherapist. Well, I interviewed her, not worked with her. I interviewed her, and she's actually wrote the foreword on my book that said, your dad's alcoholism was a gift to you. You never drank. You never, ever. And his gift was that he suffered for you. And I thought, I never thought of it that way. So if I look at everything through being grateful, it doesn't mean we don't mourn or grieve or get angry. These all serve a purpose. But the anger I lived in, what made me very trauma driven, made me a great lobbyist, set records that have never been broken, wasn't out of talent. It was out of trauma. It was out of fear. I had no idea I was so driven to and running so fast. We are not going to outrun our trauma. And it's going to cycle, it's going to loop, it's just going to come back. And the burnout is real. So I think when the burnout happened, I got sick. And I got really sick. I was in the top 2% of migraineurs of someone who suffered from migraines. I was hospitalized about 10 days a month. I traveled the world for holistic clinics. I took medication that almost lost my legs. I got 17 forms of staph. I had a bone infection in they had to pull 9 of my teeth. People say, oh, you have beautiful teeth. You have no idea the price I had to pay for this. So I had to completely deconstruct and rebuild my identity, how I saw myself. And if there's any form of self-worth, self-esteem issues going on, you're not going to survive this. We have a crossroads where we have to level up and meet ourselves there and do the work, or we hide.